The fire still burning, the smoke still rising. Tonight, the risk of an explosion remains. 6,000 people live nearby, the danger they face, and how first responders are keeping them safe.
Hundreds around the plant weighing whether to stay or go. I'll have a live look near the evacuation zone.
As smoke continues from the fire, where is it going to go? We're tracking the air quality and the winds.
Dozens of businesses at risk, thousands of people displaced. Everyone watching, waiting for what happens next.
Last night, I felt as uneasy at a fire scene as I've ever felt in 33 years in this business.
They were not themselves. We had to kind of pack clothes, try to explain to them what we were doing, and kind of rush out.
But I didn't have enough time to grab everything.
I would say evacuate everybody that you can.
WFMY News 2 at 11 starts right now. The Winston-Salem fire chief said it could be the biggest explosion in U.S. history. That's what we're up against tonight. Good evening. I'm Chad Silber. Julie Luck is on leave. The fire raging at the Weaver fertilizer plant has the potential to explode. Firefighters are doing whatever they can to keep the flames away from 600 tons of ammonium nitrate. No one has been hurt at this point, and that is the good news tonight. The plume of smoke has lingered since last night when the fire ignited. Check out this view above the plant today. A cloud of potentially harmful fumes is spreading over the area. The danger sparked an evacuation within 1 mile of the facility on Cherry Street. Firefighters say it's likely to last until tomorrow night. They hope to get to the burning building sometime tomorrow to put the fire out for good. Though the situation remains dangerous, today the fire chief shared some reason for optimism.
The way the fire is behaving now is what we would like for it to continue to do, and that is burn off through surface combustion and consume the bulk of that ammonium nitrate. We do not know what the rate of consumption is. We just need it to burn out a fuel.
All right, let's go live now to an area just outside that evacuation zone. WFMY News 2's Grace Holland has spent the day there. Grace, how are conditions tonight?
Chad, the air is pretty clear here at the staging area where, as you can see, there's a lot of emergency crews kind of hanging out in this area. Earlier this afternoon, I talked to some of the people who live around this evacuation zone, some seeking shelter, others staying put.
I'm fine. Thank you. Thank you.
There's a steady number of customers at the Shell station on Indiana Avenue.
You're paying card cash.
But clerk Richard Nixon says it's nowhere near what he usually sees on a weekday.
Because of some burning is the factory, so we have slow business. Everything is closed surrounding our offices. Everything is slow, so customers also be slow here.
The gas station is one of the few still open on the edge of an evacuation zone extending in a 1 mile radius around the Weaver fertilizer plant due to a fire that fire officials say could cause an explosion. Do you feel safe being here right now?
I think so.
Yeah.
I am believing that we are safe. So, grace of God, we are safe.
Some of his customers are people like Oscar LeGrant, who lives on the edge of the evacuation area. He says they're staying inside as much as possible with no plans to leave.
Not right now, no, because of the smoke has died down a great deal. If it was still getting a great deal of smoke in there, the wind has changed too, the direction has changed.
But others closed their businesses and got loved ones out.
I definitely have more peace about it.
Sharon Johnson runs a group home near the plant. Her 4 residents were taken to a hotel.
We had to kind of pack clothes, try to explain to them what we were doing, and kind of rush out. And I'm sure that was very confusing for them.
She's also hosting her brother and his family who live in that part of town, trying to make the most of a very stressful time.
Actually treating it like a snow day. We're pretty glued to the TV right now and just spending time together.
Officials are continuing to monitor the fire, and they say that the potential for the explosion runs through tomorrow morning. Governor Roy Cooper is expected to be here tomorrow to meet with state and local officials about the fire. That will also be sometime tomorrow.
Grace, thank you. We want to give you a better idea of what's inside this 1 mile evacuation zone. This is a map from the city of Winston-Salem. Everything inside the circle, businesses and homes, are being urged to evacuate. That includes the Forsyth County Jail. The Food Lion on University Parkway, North Hills Elementary School, multiple apartment complexes and neighborhoods, even part of Wake Forest University's campus. Tonight, Wake Forest canceled classes again for tomorrow. There are no on-campus housing units within that evacuation zone. The university has, though, set up 3 shelters for students and staff who need it: the Benson Center, the Wellbeing Center, and the library. North Hills Elementary will stay closed tomorrow and Thursday. Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools says students will learn remotely instead. Families can also go to the Education Building on Bethania Station Road for help with remote learning and childcare. Staff from North Hills will be there to lead lessons. Those students will get breakfast and lunch. Buses will pick up and drop off students at their normal spots. The Red Cross is helping evacuees who don't have a place to go. There's a shelter set up at the Education Building on the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds. Dozens of people have checked in. It can hold about 100 people. Some showed up early this morning.
The first couple we had come in actually had came here because they went to the police to ask where they could go. They heard the explosions outside their house. So before we actually announced the formal opening, they were already leaving and looking for a place.
The Red Cross also has a space for first responders at Perimeter Point Boulevard. More than 6,000 people live within a mile of the Weaver fertilizer plant. Thousands of people are needing a place to stay and praying we avoid an explosion and their homes survive. In and around that evacuation zone, the streets are empty tonight. Most everybody is following the orders of first responders. WFMY News 2's Kevin Kennedy met 2 women who live and work nearby, keeping a safe distance.
On US 52, more than 10 miles away, you can see the plume of smoke. Up close, you can taste it. The fertilizer plant's still burning.
It's bringing the smoke closer, because this wasn't like this yesterday.
Erica Watkins lives inside the 1-mile evacuation zone, the fire right next door.
That smoke right there and that smoke right there, this is literally our backyard.
Erica, one of thousands evacuated. A knock on the door came at 2 this morning.
Before I could get to the door, I heard over this loudspeaker, "Please evacuate."
Erica and her 2 kids leaving, but staying away from your home isn't easy.
Coming back to check on your house to make sure it's safe, and the area is still not safe to be in.
There is a concern for more explosions. Neighborhoods feel like ghost towns, streets empty. Almost every business inside the evacuation zone closed. Parking lots mostly barren.
The parking lot is usually full of cars and people coming in to all the businesses around here.
LaDonna Hickman works across the street from the fertilizer plant. Yesterday was frightening.
It just got very dark, and you heard popping. And you saw red flames. We just wanted to get away from this area.
More than 24 hours later, this fire has subsided, but it's not over, and the risk is still real. LaDonna leaving after a quick stop to grab a file. Erica will once again be spending the night.
We're just waiting to see what's going to happen
somewhere else. Kevin Kennedy, 2 Wants to Know.
As you know, thousands of people are impacted by the fire and the resulting evacuation. All day long, we've heard from mothers, fathers, business owners, and students. Some had a place to go, others had to go to a shelter, all hoping they can return to normal as soon as possible.
I got up and I had went to the door. Flames, I'm talking about flames. I said, "Mom, it's a fire, it's a fire." And then that's when the second noise had went off.
I didn't know what to do. I was running around the house like, okay, I got clothes on, but like, what else do I need?
I don't think any of my neighbors knew until well after we should have already been evacuated.
I don't want the building to be impacted, but it's affecting my business. But you know, we're trying to do our best to handle the situation. It's a minute by minute process.
I told my husband first. I called him and I was like, it's a fire, behind the job, and I think you need to call Barry and let him know what's going on. So when we got home, I showed him the video. He was like, "Oh my God."
Been a long-standing relationship, and it's with a lot of different people that have worked there. We will make it, but hopefully we'll still be able to do business with them.
Weaver Fertilizer has operated out of its Winston-Salem facility for 80 years. Owners first set up shop in 1940, so it was built well before many state fire codes were created. 36 people work there. A company spokesman says they're all safe tonight, and they want to be sure people living nearby are safe too.
The biggest challenge we have ahead right now is keeping them safe and worrying about their jobs. We're going to continue to take care of them. We will continue to work with the community and the people who have been displaced. That's our #1 goal, is to take those who have been displaced and get them back in their homes as fast as possible.
Weaver is one of 500 North Carolina plants licensed by the Department of Agriculture to make fertilizer. Its products are sold in most major garden stores. The Winston-Salem fire chief says Weaver's facility was last inspected in December. No problems were found then. The State Department of Environmental Quality says the company wasn't even on radar until last night. The only problems we found came from 2014. A workplace safety issue filed with OSHA. A worker was on the roof doing repairs when he fell. Weaver was fined about $9,000. The Environmental Protection Agency is at the site tonight. The fumes and smoke are creating poor air quality nearby. People in the area are encouraged to wear a mask to block out those fumes. People with breathing issues like asthma or COPD are especially at risk. A Wake Forest pulmonology professor told us they should stay inside and monitor their symptoms. 2 warning signs are shortness of breath and wheezing.
All of those are signs of a flare or an exacerbation of asthma or COPD. And these kinds of exposures are well-known triggers of these kinds of flares.
Tim, the poor air quality from the fumes is a concern. The wind direction plays a big role in where those fumes travel. What are you seeing?
Yeah, Chad, it's really all about the wind. And you heard crews today talking about an anticipated wind shift. And that's what we're expecting happening overnight tonight. I'll show you what we're seeing right now. Throughout the day today, most of that smoke was actually being pushed southwest in this direction. Well, overnight, the winds are pretty calm right now, but by tomorrow they should be setting up generally from an east or a southeast direction. That means the smoke gets blown to the west, to the northwest, or to the north. So if you are on the east or southern sides of Winston-Salem, you're probably not seeing much smoke over the next couple of days, if any. But if you're on the north, the northwest, or the west sides of the city, you will be having some smoke contamination in your air, especially as we get into Thursday. The winds are really going to pick up and send this possibly as far north into Stokes County. So if you're in Stokes, Surrey, Yadkin, you're on that side where you have to really watch things here. Just think about taking a drive up 52 to the north and west. That's the general direction. We're going to watch that air quality very closely, but keep in mind, it'll be very localized to that small area right around the fire, especially where that smoke plume is most concentrated.
Tim, thanks. I want to give you a better idea of how dangerous ammonium nitrate can be. The National Institutes of Health says it's used to make fertilizers and explosives. It's odorless and colorless, and it's caused blasts at other industrial facilities over the years, including this one in West Texas. A huge explosion at a fertilizer facility in 2013. 15 people died that day. More than 200 were injured. 150 buildings were destroyed. We spoke with the sheriff there today. He was there during the explosion 8 years ago. He said evacuation and safety is key.
The fertilizer plant is not worth losing one life. Get those people out. Let this thing burn itself out. If we had done that here, 15 people would be alive. The devastation is just tremendous.
Winston-Salem Fire say the Weaver plant has more than twice the amount of ammonium nitrate as that facility in Texas. Now, this is still a wait-and-see situation, and it could be this way for days. Firefighters won't be able to get to that facility until at least late tomorrow. Stick with us to get you every update as this situation unfolds.
And a quick checkup on your forecast. Dry weather remains for tomorrow. A little fog in the morning, cold there, but warmer weather on the way. We're going to have a high of about 54 degrees for your Wednesday. Coming up, I take you through some warmer weather through the rest of the week that actually could bring us rain, thunder, and for the weekend, even another winter weather chance. The weather's not done with us yet. Stay with us.
2 suspects arrested in a deadly Minnesota school shooting today. It was one of 2 deadly school shootings on this Tuesday, the latest in both investigations. Plus, Eden police say 2 FedEx employees were trading packages for drugs. Your other news headlines of the day coming up next. Two suspects are in custody tonight after a school shooting in Minnesota. Investigators say one student died, another is in critical condition. Police responded to the school just outside Minneapolis this afternoon. The school has about 200 students as young as kindergarten who receive special education or alternate learning. Students were eventually reunited with their families. Tonight, police say they've arrested the two suspects and recovered a gun. We still don't know the identity of the victims or the suspects. Two campus safety officers are dead after a shooting at a college in Virginia today. Officers arrested the suspect at Bridgewater College. That's about 2 hours northwest of Richmond. Students remained sheltered in place for hours. We don't know much about the suspect or what motivated them to open fire. Back here in the Triad, a 14-year-old boy died in a shooting in Greensboro early this morning. Police say Jacqueline Chambers died after someone shot him just after midnight on McPherson Street. Police didn't say what led up to the shooting and didn't have any suspect information. A shooting at a High Point gas station is also now a homicide investigation. Police say 19-year-old Christopher Sellers died in a shooting last night on Brentwood Street. Initially, investigators found just one person injured in a nearby parking lot. They say someone brought Sellers to the hospital, saying he'd been wounded too. He later died from his injuries. Police arrested the man who brought Sellers to the hospital. Diakis Wilson faces a felony assault charge. He's in the Guilford County Jail tonight on a $2 million bond. Police in Eden say they have arrested 6 people involved in a theft ring where FedEx employees were trading packages for drugs. Police say they identified 2 FedEx employees and found multiple packages at 5 different addresses. In all, investigators say they recovered more than $10,000 worth of stolen merchandise. All 6 suspects are facing felonies ranging from drug possession to theft by an employee. Tomorrow, the battle over our state's legislative maps takes center stage. Opening arguments are set to begin in front of the state Supreme Court. Republicans and Democrats tried to push a few of the justices to recuse themselves from the case for several reasons. All will preside over the case. Democrats claim Republicans illegally drew our state's new district maps. Republicans say it isn't true. The issue forced our state to delay primary elections to May. We'll let you know when that dispute is decided.
Well, just when you thought we'd had a nice quiet week of weather, that is far from the case. It really looks like things will continue to be rather busy and keep us on our toes.